Whilst prolific drummer Mike Portnoy spent 25 years with progressive rock band Dream Theater, he's also played with a vast variety of bands across the spectrum of rock and roll, including Neil Morse, Winery Dogs, Avenged Sevenfold, Metal Allegiance, and Liquid Tension Experiment. In 2017, Portnoy formed his new band Sons of Apollo, with former Dream Theater bandmate Derek Sherinian on keyboards, Billy Sheehan on bass, Jeff Scott Soto on vocals, and Bumblefoot on guitar. They're presently working on their second album, the follow-up to 2017's Psychotic Symphony.
Derek was with us in the 90s, and he was always kind of like my rock and roll brother. You know, all the other guys in Dream Theater, as much as I love them, they're always kind of like prog nerds.
I knew that was coming.
And Derek came in, and Derek loved Van Halen and Ozzy and Sabbath and Kiss, and that's what he grew up with.
That's cool.
None of the Dream Theater guys really kind of grew up with that stuff, but I did, and Derek did. So he was kind of like always my rock and roll buddy, and we had this nickname, the Del Fuvio Brothers, because we were just like sarcasm and shit stirring and making fun of people, mocking people. So he and I just really clicked on that level. For whatever reason, we had to let him go towards the end of the decade.
What happened there?
It was, the Dream Theater was just going through a very, very tough period at that period, and in order to survive, we needed to make a bunch of changes, and letting Derek go was one of them. But I never stopped loving him, and he's, you know, he remained a friend, and we always stayed in touch through all the years that he wasn't in the band. And then once I left Dream Theater, it was inevitable that we would come back together and do something. So here we are with Sons of Apollo.
It's a really cool record. It's like it's fun. It's got a rock and roll. It's interesting you say that you're rock and roll dudes, because it, you know, obviously it's got proggy elements, but it's fucking rock and roll.
It's definitely got way more balls and personality. Yeah, and I know once you see this band on tour, this band on stage is going to be ridiculous. Between Bumblefoot and Billy Sheehan and Jeff, who's an amazing front man, and you know, it's going to have real personality on stage. It's going to be like a 5-ring circus, and when you see a
5-ring circus?
You see a lot of prog bands, and it's like watching paint dry. You know, it's like a science experiment. This band is not going to be that way. This band is going to be about entertainment.
A lot of grown men gently weeping. That's generally the vibe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've seen a lot of men cry in your time, haven't you?
I think with Sons of Apollo, we don't want grown men weeping. We want
women taking their shirts off.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Exactly.
I'm glad you have the same attitude.
Yeah.
That's what rock and roll should do, right?
Exactly.
I actually saw, and look, I'm not going to hate on Kiss, because I feel like you had to have gotten into Kiss at a certain point, and I think I'm too young to have gotten into Kiss the way people. Yeah, I feel like you had to have gotten into them then, because I saw them live the same week I saw Ozzy Osbourne with fucking Mike Borden on drums and Zakk Wylde on guitar. Yeah. I had to leave Kiss because like, I'm sorry, but fucking they were like going cheer for me, and I saw fucking that, like I saw Ozzy with those guys, and people were actually taking their tops off.
Well, you had to have been there. You had to have been there in the 70s. When I saw Kiss in 1977, Madison Square Garden, it was life-altering. It was the first time I went to a concert and smelled pot smoke everywhere. And then they get on stage, and they're just larger than life, and shit's blowing up everywhere. And, you know, I was like 10 years old, and that, you know, nobody was doing shit like that then. It was like the Beatles for heavy metal kids.
What are 5 songs that have changed your life? Yeah. No, either. 5 songs that are really like fucking resonant to you. They can be songs you've written or songs that you've listened to. You've made what have you made, 100 albums? I guess you could probably pick ones you've made.
Well, the one of mine that's changed my life was Pull Me Under, because Dream Theater was floating in obscurity for the first 7 years of the band, and then that song hit, and then suddenly it blew the doors open, and you know,
shit got real.
It got me. Everything that I've done since then is because of that moment, that song. It opened up every door I've walked through since. So that would be obviously one answer. Well, the Beatles, so I'd have to pick a Beatles song.
Helter Skelter.
I was born in '67, and Sgt. Pepper came out 6 weeks after I was born, so I'd have to pick a song off that album, A Day in the Life, just because it's kind of significant with
your life.
And also, I'd have to pick a Who song, because Keith Moon was always one of my biggest heroes ever. So I don't know, my generation, seeing him like destroy his drum kit on the Smothers Brothers show in '67, also when I was born. I mean, that was like, I saw that and I was like, I want to do that. I want to be a fucking crazy drummer.
That's really funny because Buzz from the Melbourne said last week, he's like, how can you ever be as an extreme as The Who fucking trashing all their equipment?
Imagine seeing that for the first time. I mean, now you're used to seeing people trash their instruments, but imagine like seeing that for the first time. All right, 2 more before he kicks us off. I'd have to pick something off the first Metallica album, Kill 'Em All, because, I mean, when that came out, it just changed everything.
Look, everyone in that band fucking brought it. Like, let's be real. I can tease Lars all I want, but it's like they started 100 bands.
Cliff is one of my heroes. He's one of my all-time bass heroes. So, but when Kill 'Em All came out, nothing had been that fast and that heavy and that tight ever. You know, you had heavy, like Motorhead, but Motorhead was more loose and sloppy, whereas Metallica was super heavy and tight. So let's say the Four Horsemen, any song off the first album.
It's like classical heavy metal.
Yeah, it is now. That's classic rock now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's think about it.
And then I'm going to just pick something that's not metal. I'll go with something off of Radiohead's OK Computer, because to me that's like one of the most perfect albums ever made. But it's got 3 of the greatest songs ever on that one album. You got Paranoid Android, Exit Music from a Film, and Karma Police. All 3 of those are perfect songs. How do you pick one of them? Exit Music from a Film. I'll go with that, just because it's like it just moves me every time.
See, I like this because I can now make a playlist out of this, and people can like get into your musical brain, like as a thing. That's a really cool cross section of music. And
I'm missing Bowie too, man.
You need a little Bowie.
Space Oddity, or Rock and Roll Suicide, or Life on Mars. Oh man, I could just do this.
We're just saying. By the way, Mike just told me that Quentin Tarantino's next film is about the '60s and '70s and rock and roll.
Well, 1969 specifically. I can't wait. I've never seeing Tarantino do the '60s is going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Totally. Well, Mike, thank you for your time. Have a great show tonight, and may the force be with you. This is The Void.